There's a moment, most of us have lived it, when you look in the mirror and something shifted. Or you sit with a friend you've known for decades and realize the life you're both living looks nothing like the life you imagined. Or you wake up and the season has changed quietly while you weren't watching. Or while you were living it and you're suddenly just noticing what's happening. Change doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it just arrives. This podcast, this space is for women in the middle of that. Not the before when everything is still in front of you, and not the after when you've made peace with it, but the during. The season when your body's telling you something, when your roles are shifting, when the things you've built your identity around are loosening their grip, and you're having to figure out, sometimes for the first time, what actually matters. What do I hold on to? What do I let go of? And who am I when so much is changing? We're Jenn, Yulee, and Joyce, friends and colleagues, and we've been asking those questions alongside women for years. In leadership, in faith, in family, in the quiet places where we go when we're honest with ourselves. Women on the Pause is about all of it. The body and the spirit, the grief and the grace, the woman you're becoming and the wisdom you're carrying from the woman you've been, and how we trust God in the middle of it all. Perhaps if we pay attention together, we might just find that we're being asked to let go of something to make room for something else that we couldn't imagine yet. Welcome to Women on the Pause. We're so glad you're here. Hi, friends.
Hi, Jenn.
Hey, Jenn.
Have another episode with you all.
What are we talking about today?
I think we're talking about our changing, aging bodies, how to embrace that. It's funny, Jenn, when you're doing your intro about sometimes we look in the mirror and we notice, like, I don't know how you phrased it, but notice something changing. And immediately I thought, oh, I was looking in the mirror the other day and I noticed a white eyebrow hair. I was like, I didn't know eyebrow hairs change. And then I was like texting my mom before. I was like, does this happen to women? And she's like, no, like men eyebrow hairs change, but women's don't. And I was like, well, I might be the first.
I may or may not have discovered one myself, Joyce. So
Okay.
the two of us.
But I was going to ask you guys, are there any things that have been surprising for you? Like with your bodies and like, it could be funny things, but any like things that are happening that you're like, why did nobody tell me? Like my eyebrow hair.
Well,
Friends
now
tell
I feel
friends.
better equipped to look for my eyebrows to change. I think for me, like as I've aged, I've noticed the different ways that I look in pictures. Actually, is like how I first noticed. It's not so much like looking in the mirror for me. I think because in the mornings when I get ready or at night, like I'm tired, so I don't like look as intently. But when I look at photos, and as I was entering into my 40s, I started looking at my photos more closely because I was like, oh, I look different in the photos. Like, I wonder why. And then I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Like, starting in perimenopause, I feel like my weight shifted around my body. So where I used to carry weight, um, I don't really, probably, I think for me was probably around my thighs or something. But then all of a sudden, I don't know how like weight works, like and how it shifts, but I feel like it just moved up
Yeah, for
to
sure.
my
Like the
waist
middle
area.
section, like shifts to the middle section.
Yeah,
That's so
all of a
common.
sudden. I'm like, oh, I need new jeans because, and then it's like, but what do you do with your old jeans? Do you save them just in case? Like you go back to your regular size, or do you just throw them away and just, embrace the fact that you're a new size
Mm-hmm.
Right,
and just buy
right.
new clothes, which I
Yeah.
have loved, but also, do we need to spend that much money? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I've noticed is like a weight shift first.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? I have what I'm wearing right now is like elastic because it's like a button, but in the back it's like elastic. It's like maternity,
Perfect.
but it's not
Perfect.
maternity.
I love it. I think, Yulee, what I love about you is when we do photos together and then you text back right away, you say, "We're so adorable."
Yeah.
And I think that just a piece of just like art, we're so critical. Like when like you, Yulee, I look at myself in a photo and I think my first response, I've had to retrain my thinking, but I'd say before my first response was like, "Oh, I'm getting older."
Mhm.
But it's not with like, it's not like, "Oh, you're so cute, Jen." It's just like, "Oh, goodness." And that's like not blessing the body and the
Yeah.
person that we are, the way, and not even seeing ourselves the way the Lord sees us. I was, yeah, so our pastor's son, he and his mama made a card for me, and he, his mom wrote down what he said, and he told me that he said, "Happy birthday, Jen," because I had my birthday on Monday, and he said, "You're glorious and cute and
I just love that.
nice and kind." And I thought, could we bless this body that is changing and aging? And that is not my first response. I just want to cringe and go, "Ooh, I thought I looked better than that is actually my," I thought, I look in the mirror and I think we're doing great. And then I see a picture and I'm just like, swipe, 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 trying to find the best one of 50, that I might actually like. But I think that response of like, "I am glorious and cute." A 6-year-old told me that. Yulee, we're so adorable. Like, could we bless this body that has carried us this far? And yeah,
Yeah.
what we say under our breath is so important, isn't it?
Yes. That's so good, Jen. And happy belated birthday to you.
Yeah.
Thank
I feel like
you.
this podcast is very relevant in terms of, we reflect around our birthdays about our
Mm-hmm.
age. And a lot of that is, the things that we are um, grateful for about our age, but also like the reality of our changing bodies. I love that. And I would just affirm you are glorious and cute. So
Amen.
glorious. It's so cute. Um, and so we do need to repeat those things to ourselves, the things that,
Mm.
I don't know, like, I think we are so quick to be hypercritical.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, it comes from like years and years growing up in front of like dancing as a dancer and like seeing your body
Mm.
in the mirror. And like we were
Mm.
trained to be critical of our bodies almost, of like, here's how you, like, I had a dance teacher who weighed us almost every week and told each kid how much you needed to lose, how much weight, how many pounds you need to lose.
Wow.
And so that was every single girl had body image issues. Many of them
Mm.
had eating disorders.
Mm.
And it is, I know, like for me, I've struggled with body image issues through all of my 20s into my
Mm-hmm.
30s. And I think what helped me was actually, and this isn't the case for everyone, but getting pregnant and having a baby was like actually healing for my body, like healing in terms of psychologically, because my
Mm.
job during the time of my pregnancy was to gain weight. And it was like the
Mm-hmm.
first time I'm like, I don't need to be losing weight. I need to be gaining weight.
Mm.
And this is what my body is supposed to do. And it was so miraculous that your body's making a whole human being. And I was just in awe of like, this is what a healthy body is.
Mm.
It's like, how can we be healthy? The
Mm.
shift of like, how can we be and stay healthy rather than try to strive for this ideal image that
Yeah.
is not necessarily even attainable. And I look at other women, like my mom, who's 76, and healthy still. And I'm so grateful. Like she has a working, healthy body. And it's like, okay, what can we do to take care of ourselves? So our bodies are able to do the things that God created us to do.
It's
So
interesting how we get messages, like you said, Joyce, from the outside world. Um, and these messages might not even be the ones that are in our heads when we first start out in this world, you know.
No,
But as we
yeah.
navigate the world, then we run into these kinds of critical messages that end up shaping how we view our own bodies. And even in
Yeah.
the workplace, like I remember when I started working in higher education, and I would get critiqued a lot on how I came to work, like the type of clothing that I chose for work. Apparently, I was too fashionable, and I
oh,
was told that I need to wear more suits. And also my hair. I got a lot of comments about the highlights in my hair and how that wasn't very professional.
Oh,
And
wow.
I needed to, dye my hair back to being like my natural black color. And so it's interesting. And like, I remember getting comments too. Like, I was on a national Zoom call, and I had my glasses on. And this was when I was younger. I wasn't even wearing reading glasses. I was wearing very cute black framed glasses on the Zoom meeting. And I was giving a presentation on something. And one of the attendees, she, after my presentation, when I asked for Q&A, she unmuted, and rather than asking a question, she said, "You look so smart in those glasses." And I was like, my response was, "Oh, I'm smart with or without the glasses."
You're so good,
But
Yulee.
like,
I love it.
why do we say things like that?
yeah.
Like immediately comment
Yeah.
on other
Yeah.
people's looks, and kind of
Mm.
attribute it to their intelligence or professionalism,
Yeah. Yeah.
etc. Yeah, that's so damaging, and I've
It
experienced so much of
is.
it. And yeah, I'm
Yeah.
curious what both of your experiences. Or I know Joyce, you mentioned that in the dancing world, but what about you, Jen?
I'd agree in the professional world. I would, walk into a board meeting and already struggle. I think I wrote about it in my book. Like my sisters would like try and help me get my wardrobe to a place where it says like, I'm old enough to be in the room, you
Mm.
know, but I'm still Jen, glorious and cute. But it was amazing to me. Like when I was younger, my husband would say that I would always just say, I just really struggled feeling like I didn't look old enough. He just casually said the other day, he's like, I haven't heard you say that in a long time. But I mean, it was a long time of like really needing to talk myself into like walking into a space and wearing the clothes that I felt comfortable in and that I felt were appropriate. They're not inappropriate. You were not dressed inappropriately, Yulee,
No,
but
just so
you were
cute.
right. So
Yeah.
this idea that we have to be a certain way, and so those kind of moments really made me like people would take me aside and go, "Oh, you're so whatever." Like they feel free to just tell me things. like
Yeah.
like to be told you're cute as a 30-year-old or 35-year-old or 40-year-old is inappropriate in a professional setting unless it's like just a girlfriend just in, casual we're getting coffee kind of moment, but not after a meeting or during a meeting because it just diminishes that sense of like my voice and my whatever it is that has been hard to overcome to come in when someone says that. It just says just go back to being cute, which means you just sit over there and don't say anything. And I think that when we think about aging and our body, so really it is like the body I've been given. This is what I have. I can't make her be more than she is. She just is. This is it. And loving what God has given me has taken me so much time. So, like, do I need to look smarter? You weren't trying to look smart. You were just wearing glasses.
Yeah.
And, like, you weren't, you are smart. I love how just witty you are, Yulee. Just, I
No, I'm
wish
not good with comebacks usually, but
that
that
was
one time
perfect.
I was
That
like,
was
oh, that was
so good. But I think that professionally, like just being able to embody, like with confidence, just that sense of like walking into a room and this is who I am. And and I love what God has given me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe going back to that blessing piece, not taking it from what the world says or what culture says or the environment tells us to be, but first taking our cue, like God says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And that doesn't mean just right when we came out, we were, and we still are. You and like the three of us around this call, we're fearfully and wonderfully made.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And do we know this full well? I think that the more we can like grasp that understanding, I think is to know, is to age well, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of the things that I was very cognizant of is how I want what I say, like the content of what I say. If you're teaching or you're preaching or you're like on a in a national call, like you usually like you want what you say to have weight, to have influence,
Mm.
and to contribute in those spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want people to be distracted by what you're wearing or to, to like focus on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things I think early on, I was like, okay, how do I dress in a way when I'm preaching, for instance, because that is I still want to be cute. Like that's like I still want to like look
Mm-hmm.
professional, put together, but I don't want it to be distracting. And I just don't think men have to deal with that. I don't think other people have to. But and then you want to, yeah. I think there's just a lot more you have to think about as a woman, and but not overthink it. That's not, you have to think about it, but not
Mm-hmm.
overthink it, and then be confident in how God has made your body shape. Um, you know, we're all kind of shorter in stature, so we don't take as much space when we enter a room. And
Yeah.
so I think for us, anyway, I kind of feel like um, our like my hurdle to get across, I think, is um, to be able to embrace my voice and to speak
Mm.
um, because my body is small and because I can be
Mm-hmm.
invisible. I can very easily
Mm.
feel invisible.
Yeah.
Um, so how do I do that? I feel like I'm kind of veering away from the original topic, which is kind of like embracing our aging bodies, but just in being comfortable in our bodies in these different
Yeah.
spaces that we're called to be in.
Yeah.
I
I
was
feel
going
like
to ask,
also,
like, go
oh,
ahead, Yulee.
I was gonna say like with the aging body, especially mine, like there's always a tension a little bit because I love aging, and I feel like there's a different kind of confidence that comes with aging,
Mm-hmm.
um, if you want it to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and also, like in my pursuit of health, and I think health, maybe looks different for different ones of us. But for me, it does involve like wanting to stay physically active.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there's always a tension in my mind for me personally of like, yes, I embrace my aging body, and also like how can I adapt in ways where I can stay physically active, and in my mind, physically fit,
Yeah.
um, because it affects me mentally.
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
well. So like, there's a lot of, Instagram handles or whatever, people in general who talk about in the leadership world, like, hey, when you wake up every morning, if you work from home, like, there are these people who are like, make sure you like put on your makeup or like, do something as if you're going into the workplace so that
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you're shifting into work mode or whatever. I don't know how much I agree with that, but in that spirit, um,
Mm.
I think the message behind that is like, you know, our bodies, our willingness to embrace our bodies and to keep our bodies healthy in whatever we think is right, that
Mm-hmm.
does affect us mentally. And there's like
Yeah.
ripple effects in
Yeah.
how we engage the world, people, our work, etc. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just wanted to make that connection. 'Cause I think that's a real struggle.
It is.
Not like just a nonchalant, like, oh yeah, like if I sometimes I wake up and I feel like, oh, I look so ugly.
Yeah.
In my mind, like I have
Yeah.
image.
Yeah.
I think it's like a real struggle that
It
people
is.
have. And then it does affect like how I go about my day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
go out as much or whatever for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to be real about it in case there's somebody listening who's like, well, it's
Totally.
not that easy, to
It
embrace.
isn't.
Yeah.
No, I would agree. I appreciate that, Yulee. It is not easy to embrace. I think every day it's a choice, maybe, to say, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to embrace, I'm going to bless, I'm going to take care of. And that might mean take a little longer.
Yeah.
Takes a little longer to get there. I I was walking to church on Sunday and I tripped. I moved aside off the sidewalk to let somebody pass, and then I tripped and I totally skinned my knee. I
Oh.
felt like a 5-year-old. But anyways, I so anyways, every day taking care of it has just it's just a little bit of work to kind of take care of my knee. But it's been this interesting, like, I when the kids were little, I think I would, like, you slice your finger while you're making dinner and you just like, I hold that little pinky up and I keep going. Like, you're just like, I don't have time, which is my go-to. I can't do that anymore. Like, my knee needs tending
Yes.
and I have to do it. And in some ways, the last few days has been an interesting, dare I use the word, liturgy of life for me, to tend to this skinned knee with kindness, where I haven't always taken that care. And there's a slowing down that is in my mindset that just says, this is important, where I haven't always said that about my body. I just kind of am a push through kind of girl. Everybody else's needs are more important. I will get there when I'll take care of myself later. And my kids are all adults now. And even, I got outed. My daughter told the family that I skinned my knee, and the boys were just like, Mom. And I felt like, oh, like that, in that, like, they know me and they know I just kind of push through. And so, and that's a denial of maybe what I need. So I think, to anybody listening, just let that be an invitation. Tend to the part of you that needs some care today.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a part of your body that's aching, or,
Yes.
just be gentle with yourself.
That's such a good word, Jen. I do think in middle age we can't power through the same way
Mm-hmm.
that we did when we were young. I mean, we can't pull all-nighters, we can't eat the same way and expect to still operate, you know, in at the same capacity. And so our bodies do, like, caring for our bodies helps us to be our best, like feel better. Like
Mm-hmm.
you were saying, really, it's all connected to feel better, to um, you know, like like uh, be able to just function in our work better, to be better parents. And so we can't neglect that.
Yeah.
And I think the mentality, I think the shift for me is being able to say, I want to be healthy. I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
want to stay healthy for the
Yeah.
long term. Like, and I can't neglect my body and expect it
Yeah.
to keep operating the way it used to.
Yeah. So as we close this episode, I have a question, and I wanted to ask Yulee this. What is one thing you're releasing in this season? And what is one thing you're embracing?
Hmm. I think one thing I'm releasing is the need to, this is going to go together. So, and it might
Mm-hmm.
be really obvious, but the need to control my body,
Mm-hmm.
um, and, you know, being open to how it's changing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, before I wanted to sort of control that process, I would ask so many of my medical doctor friends and all of this stuff like, okay, give me this 5 steps on how to go through this perimenopause stage or whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
do think more information about this phase of life would be helpful,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think I need the 5 steps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I think what I'm embracing is um, uh, surrender. So, like I said, it's connected. So, releasing control, embracing surrender, um, and meaning, um, yeah, like just, I think finding delight in my body, um, and like really finding joy in how it's taking different shape.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there comes other bonuses to
Yeah.
changing bodies, like both of you said, like there's a greater embracing of limits.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really good thing.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
that's, if you want to allow that to happen in your life, like a greater embracing of limits, in your 40s and 50s, it's a good time to really learn that lesson and to embrace it. Um, and yeah, and then, there's little perks. You get to buy new jeans, like I said.
Do it.
um, and you get to add to your wardrobe. And those are the fun little, perks as well. So I think control is what I'm releasing, and
Mm.
surrender is what I'm embracing.
Mm. Thank you, Yulee and Joyce, for just the privilege of journeying together. Thanks, listeners, for joining us today on Women on the Pause. We're so glad to have you here.